Greetings, Michael. So, um, I'm going to go ahead and start this pop up reading. Um, I was inspired to do this pop up reading after doing this for myself. And when I chimed into what was going on with the Akashic Records, I realized y'all really need to hear this. You have to hear this. Okay? I need you no matter what you are doing. Welcome. I'm Camps to the Untamed Oracle. I have been channeling about what was going to happen in the future since 2006. It's all on YouTube. You can go all the way back to 2006 and see that I saw pretty much all of the major events that have impacted us 10 to 5 years before it occurs. So, really quickly, before I read these cards that I just pre pulled, I want to explain something about being an oracle and what that means. So, there is a lineage of women who are called the Sibyls. And the Sibyls are responsible for prophesying, being able to have precognition and use all of the clairs to gather information that is beyond time and space. This runs through my family, but it's something that it is a gift that can be very overwhelming because we are super open and connected to the energy of the collective. And on top of that, you can only imagine having an open third eye, lucid dreaming pretty much every single night, and walking in between dimensions. It can be a bit much. However, this gift allows me to do readings, and it doesn't matter when you see this reading, it's going to speak to you. Whatever is for you, you're going to get that. There's a lot of interference that's happening right now with everything that's happening in the world. Everything wants your attention because guess what? Your attention is the most valuable thing that you have. It's not your money. So with all of this interference, it can be really difficult to hear what your soul is speaking to you. To like, it's a lot. I'm keep it real. It's like it is. It's a lot happening right now. So you have to be able to be a master of yourself and learn how to observe the monkey mind, which are these really quick thoughts that we're constantly having. And we're in Gemini season, so this air energy, as soon as Gemini season hit, I was online. And I'm probably sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a night. It's crazy. I'm up doing the witching hour every night. And when I'm asleep, I'm working. So it is an adjustment that I'm making, but I wanted to tap into the Akashic Records and do this for you all. Um, I won't be available to do any readings this week. I'm already booked up for this week, but after this, if you want to book a reading with me, choose a date for next week, okay? Because it's wide open right now. You can really get some deep answers. This blew my mind. So let me get into it. The question that I asked was, what is the most important thing for those going through the ascension journey for us to know, for us to feel, and for us to do? And what is interfering with that? So that was the question that I posed for the collective. The first card that I pulled from my Sacred Rebel deck was relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. Check out that image. Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. Now I'm going to read to you what this means. As you can see from this picture, she is being bathed in this light activation energy. And that's what's happening to us. The sun is going through its 26th solar cycle. The time prisons that we were cast into are breaking down, and awakening can be very uncomfortable. And if you are someone who does shadow work, sometimes you learn things about yourself that is going to require courage just for you to accept, just for you to face within yourself. So, this is what this card says. Dear Sacred Rebel, this moment in your life requires great courage. Fortunately, you possess that in bucket loads. You are being asked to allow yourself to be lifted out of one level of known reality and into the next level of higher voltage reality. Higher voltage reality requires a more absolute trust and a heart that is surrendered into the greater heart of the universe so that life can happen to us, through us, and with us more quickly, more radically, more beautifully, and more boldly. You are now being invited into this new reality where things happen quickly and according to bold, loving optimism. This is really not only of potential, but of manifestation of the great, big, cosmic yes. To access this reality, you have to leap from known waters, and others may think you are crazy for doing so. You have to leave behind the dark, weighty grip of hesitation, procrastination, second guessing, and the belief you have to do everything on your own. You may even feel fear for the life that once was. How will you be safe in the wild? Electrical pulses of so much aliveness. How will you function without the hazy, sleep-inducing paralysis of playing it safe, taking too long, and placing lesser priorities above your sacred call to life? How will you hold yourself back if you don't hold on to fear? You do not need to worry about such things. Life is wild, but it is also wise. It is a force of startling, raw awakening at times, but it is also the natural process of evolution where all things mature according to a seasonal cycle in right timing. You are a part of, not a part from, that process. So, as I was reading this portion, really honing in on the fact that this higher level of reality we're being called to, the voltage is higher, right? So with higher voltage, you must have insulation so that you don't burn out, so that you don't get overwhelmed. See, a lot of us are already empathic. And if you experience childhood trauma that was substantial enough to affect your brain development, you are also a highly sensitive person, a HSP. I'm actually working on a book about all of this right now and putting it together. So when you combine being an empath, meaning that not only do you feel other people's emotions, but you absorb energy. You are an energy absorber. And you're highly sensitive. So all of this energy that's circulating, not just within you, within our world, within the animal kingdom is changing, within nature, within the people in our lives, like this energy is different. It just hit different. So the rules for reality is changing. A lot of times we are held back from having the experience we're supposed to because higher vibrations mean that you're going to have to let go of some stuff that's keeping you dense, rigid, heavy. You're going to have to release some things. And that can be scary, especially when the things that you have in your life, been in your life for a long time, even if you don't feel like it's good for you anymore, it's familiar. You know it. And we've been shaken up so much in the last 4 years that we're getting desensitized at the same time to things. So on one hand, you hear all of these crazy things happening in the world, and it's like, oh yeah, I heard about the two sons. Oh yeah, yeah, I heard about the man walking on the sun. Oh yeah, I heard about that portal that opened. Oh yeah, I heard about the hailstorm in Mexico in the summer, and they have 7 inches of hail. Yeah, you get to the point where you're desensitized to things, and so you can look at this as a way that we are learning how to navigate chaos without being overwhelmed. But in that, it's going to require you to do the things that you are afraid to do. It's going to require you to take off the mask and maybe let go of some of the coping mechanisms that you know are outdated. It's expired. It's just done. It's causing more harm than benefit. And something that y'all maybe are being called to do, people might think you crazy. They really might think you crazy. How do you know you're breaking free of the simulation? Sometimes that's one of the first signs, is that people start to think you crazy. You start to think you crazy. There is a phase in the ascension process where you begin to question everything, and you come out of it, and then you start questioning again, and you might even feel crazy. So as we're awakening from this sleep-induced paralysis of playing it safe, and what kept coming to me was, you're being boiled like frogs very slowly, like literally in so many ways. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay in that boiling pot? You know, it can be scary to jump out of something that you've been in for a long time. And this could be relationships, this could be careers, this could be lifestyles, this could be something dealing with your health, this could be something dealing with your mental health. Maybe you're needing to do something different. Maybe you're needing to work with a therapist alongside of doing the spiritual work. Like, a lot of therapists are having spiritual awakenings too. So, so this invitation for you to come out of your safe zone is there. And if you are resisting, you're literally trying to fight with a force in nature that you just not gonna win against, right? So here's the rest of this, and then I'm gonna tell you a mantra that you can use to activate you to be able to move out of your safe zones. So the invitation to shift gears and jump on board the express train of life, it's going to feel exhilarating, but it also will feel challenging. When you are in the hole of the darkness, this is darkness as in confusion, you will feel pushed to turn away, to imagine it is just too much. You might start to create excuses about how your desires or your dreams is not grounded. This is impossible. Maybe you're being too flighty or too flaky, or that you're not living in the real world. People will even tell you this. You tell the people that you have an idea, they'll be like, you won't be able to do that. That's not a thing. That's not a reality. Or, I can't see you being able to accomplish that. How you gonna handle that? So it's really good to keep stuff to yourself right now, especially if you don't have people around you who are in a similar wavelength, right? Keep some of these things to yourself, y'all. So when you have that feeling, that's fear talking, it's not truth. If the sacred rebel is not awakened, we will continue to live in a culture that's drenched in fear and in distrust of nature. Those without awakened hearts don't yet understand what nature knows. She knows timing. She knows life and death. She knows the creative process. She just knows and can be trusted to support us, her own creations, and becoming all that we can become. Does that mean that we become passive and just flow along like a limp leaf detached from the tree and blown about randomly by the breeze? No. Being free of the dark hole empowers us to take up our cause. This means being free to act and affirm the intuitive feelings we have by following up on them. This is painting like someone who has lost their mind and completely free, just allowing themselves to paint from the heart. It means writing even though you have no conscious idea of what you are writing, even as the words are streaming forth upon the page before you realize that you are just in the flow. And it means speaking about your work, like never hiding it away, right? So like some of us, we wrote poems that really felt good to us, that came from our soul, but nobody has ever heard it. You know, these are the type of things that keep us safe. Sometimes you dim your own light and you hide things, or maybe you're a perfectionist and you think it's good, but you're like, it's not really good enough to read it to so and so or let them hear it. You'll be surprised at what happens when you take a chance and do something different and step outside of it and stop hiding so much. A lot of us are extremely gifted, but what are we doing with it? You know, what are we doing with it? What are you doing with the gifts that you have? Are you even using them for you? Like is it hidden from yourself? So a lot of times we hide things from ourselves. Allow it to breathe the fresh air and be held in the gaze of another. Detach from the darkness that would say it is not enough, or it's got to be better than this. Whatever that means, in order to be worthy of a place in the world. Instead, just let it be what it is. It might fly, it might endure, and it might not. All of nature, including you and your passions and your dreams, will be what is needed when it is needed and how it is needed according to wisdom. We just have to trust in this within ourselves and within nature herself through the flow of life and participate. You are asked to go within and imagine diving deep off the edge of what you have known for so long. There is so much more calling you now. It's your time. Leap. Now, with this, I had a feeling last night that really hit me, and I just felt like it was time for me to do something different, to do something new, to challenge myself, to learn something new, to share something. Like, you ever get that feeling like you're living life, but you're living life so safe that it's just becoming lackluster, and maybe just getting up out of the bed is just because of obligations, but it's not because of an excitement to participate in the co-creation of our reality. We're supposed to be excited for life. Even if you're going through something hard, you're supposed to be excited for life. And when you don't feel that excitement for life anymore, oftentimes it's because you're in resistance to life itself. We have been the walking dead. We have been numb emotionally. This was how we coped. This was how we dealt with some of the experiences that we had through life. So what I kept getting when I was reading this was a mantra that I kept hearing, which was this: flow with the force. Don't try to force the flow. Learn how to flow with the force. Don't try to force the flow. A lot of us will feel relief, it will gain clarity, and things will start moving and open up for us if we just flow with this force. But so many of us want to be in control, because being in control is how we created safety, especially for those of us who were raised in narcissistic families. It was almost as if my home feels unstable, and the only way that I know to feel safe is to be in control. And so some of us throw tantrums when we want to have control and we feel like we're losing control. Some of us go into flight and we go into hermit mode and we just don't interact with anybody. Some of us walk on eggshells to try to control some of the things happening in our day-to-day reality. Some of us just detach and become avoidant and go into freeze state. And this is a psychological state where you literally, and I have this happen to me, I cannot move. I can't talk. My throat chakra is just shut down. I have nothing to say. I'm just froze. And this is an overwhelmed nervous system that has not yet learned how to relax the hold of darkness. Sometimes we're holding on so much. This is subconscious, but we hold on to our traumas because it's familiar, no matter how that manifests. And you don't consciously do this. This is in our unconsciousness. We have been walking dead, and this is what it means to awaken. It means to come out of the simulated reality that is based on the experiences that you had that created these filters that I call holographic filters. FEELTERS. So it's not visual, it's the way what you're seeing feels to you that is the hologram, right? So something could be happening in your reality, and visually I could see it and see it totally different, and you downloaded a totally different way through your feelings. So if someone always dismissed the way you feel as if it wasn't important, and somebody always told you, that you're too much, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, you take things too seriously. And over time, maybe you stop taking your own self seriously, and so you will become extra sensitive when other people don't take you serious. It really will hurt you. And so something could be happening in your reality, and you may feel that this person did not take you serious, but it could be something different. This person could be just avoiding having a conversation because, based on divine timing, it's not the best time to have the conversation. But you may download it through your feelings as, how I feel is not important to you. You don't care about me. You don't love me. And before you know it, like that first thought has a train of thoughts that follow it, and they are all pessimistic. And when you have a habit of thinking like this and you don't stop these thought trends in your mind and shift your attention and your dialogue, what happens is now you're dialed into the 3D matrix prison planet where people are constantly suffering. And there's nothing ever on the other side of suffering but just more perpetual suffering. And so we have to know how to shift ourselves. This is something called transurfing reality, where you use your conscious mind and your imagination to move yourself out of a reality that don't feel good or maybe not as beneficial for you, to shift yourself out of that reality. Like, you can do this. You can be in the middle of something that is really uncomfortable and apply a new meaning to it and nurture it with thoughts that are nurturing to it until you start to feel it inside of your body, and you will detach, you will disengage from that simulated reality. And this is how you take your power back and bring your power back into you, right? So we have auric fields that go 3 to 6 feet outside of us. It's based on what is being broadcast inside of us, the way that we download what's happening outside of us, and that awareness of what's happening plus the meaning we assign to it creates our reality. So maybe something that you thought yesterday, it just hit you today. It took some time for it to ripple, so you just want to be cognizant and self-police yourself and catch these things, and know that the safest place is sometimes stepping into uncertainty. The safest place, this is so crazy, but the universe rewards people who are willing to step out of their safe zone. So here's a healing process that you can use to tap into this energy stream that I've shared with you. You could say, and if you want to repeat after me, you can: I accept the offer of life so that I may truly live. Through unconditional love, I now invite and receive all assistance, intervention, protection, and inspiration so that I may leap into my next cycle of life, held in the loving grace of wisdom. So mote it be. And of course, y'all can come back to this video and listen to that again. These words will pull you out of a stream of consciousness or something manifesting in your physical reality you don't want to be connected to. Now, I know that it's not like just an overnight thing, but don't let that stress you, okay? Like, this is the time now, because what we see happening on the world stage is a manifestation of what happens within us individually. And those collective thought forms become energy that those who use these energies to fuel conflict. So just these simple things and learning how to use your words as your magic wands can actually have a ripple effect on what's happening in the world. So the second question that I ask, how do we really open ourselves up to this? Because, see, I haven't been doing a whole lot of readings. I wait till I'm inspired because I want this shit to hit every time because it's coming from the soul. And so when I ask this question, even my own self struggle with things like being in receptive mode. If you have been trained to feel unsafe, to not trust people, and to feel you can only rely on yourself, how are you going to receive divine intervention? Because divinity is not going to push against your will. If your will has said, I can't trust nobody, nobody never cared for me, nobody never helped me, I'm always helping other people, seem like the universe, especially social media, seem like stuff is happening in other people's lives that I want to be happening in my life, but it's not happening for me no matter what I do. These words are like oil and water to where we want to be, and so we actually end up putting resistance in our own pathway, and then it manifests outside of us in circumstances, people, places, and things, and we get frustrated. This is what you want to learn how to do. So in order to pull yourself out of cycles of having these constant experiences that you are just really ready to be done with, it happens by being in receptive mode. But if you are defensive, that means that you are not in receptive mode as well. If you find yourself being passive aggressive, if you find yourself feeling like people be coming for you and you allow it to shape you, you become a thermometer, right? You allow what's happening in the effectual world to create cause within you. You become the mechanism that lives in reaction to what's happening in the world. And if you're living as a reactor, you're not living as a creator. Exact same letters, different order. And in the book that I'm writing and in the course that I'm putting together, I'm like going into the micro breakdown of how to do this. Because this is the mechanisms that we need to learn. Mastering our emotions is the last frontier for mankind to step into godhood and goddesshood. This is the key. Emotions are very powerful, and it's something that is unique to us. There are a lot of other beings on this planet and in this dimension now that are emotionless. So the key is receiving. Then check this out. I want you to pay attention to how you feel as I'm reading these words, because if these words are hard for you to accept, that lets you know, that's like a diagnosis, right? That's a self-assessment of the type of energy you've been marinating in the most. If these words feel soothing to you, it lets you know that you was ready and open to receive this. So I don't want this to be that one reading that you hear one time and that's it, because this is, I'm telling you, this is a timeless reading right here. It says you are so loved. Your every need is witnessed and responded to by the universe. However, you sometimes forget this. You become swept up in the momentum of habitual consciousness, and you forget to take a moment to stop, breathe, and be. In that moment, you can receive the love of the universe that is receiving you. It will nourish you with contentment and energy. You have not done this enough. So your soul is becoming parched and drying out. This is what creates narcissists. A parched soul, a dry soul. Someone who is no longer connected to the powers of the universe. Narcissists are people that are in deep pain, but they're masking it and trying to create supply outside of them to feed the emptiness they feel within. Energy has been going out of you, but there is not enough coming back in. It is time to bring something in for you to receive and be received. You are being offered a chance for restoration now, to actually feel nourished, cared for, and loved, accepted. You deserve it. This healing process will help you to surrender the guilt and the shame that you may feel for having needs in the first place. It will also help you overcome any struggle that you have receiving and accepting so that your needs can be met. Let me say this. For so many of us that operate in wounded feminine energy, I call this the scared feminine energy. It's usually created in fear from past experiences that happen to us over and over again. When you have wounded feminine energy, you don't be in receptive mode to the things that are going to nourish you. You, by default, are open and receptive to the things that are actually hurtful to you. And so this is like a form of self-abuse, where we're open to the comments that people make. And I'm going to tell you how you know. If somebody make a negative comment and it stick with you longer than a positive one, that's how you know that your scared feminine energy is in a driver's seat. If somebody give you a compliment and you blow it off, but somebody say something you don't like, and it just keeps ruminating, repeating, and recycling in your mind, that's scared feminine energy. That's wounded feminine energy. So your needs, if your needs aren't getting met in any situation, there's an area where you are not allowing yourself to receive the love from the universe. If the universe can't force love on us, people definitely can't. And the reason a lot of us aren't getting needs met in relationships is because we have been closed off. It's almost like I don't trust the beautiful things in life. I don't trust the things are coming to me that will nourish me, that is for my soul, because I've been hurt so much. It's time for us to do whatever it is that we need to do. And if you don't know what that is, find out. How can I start healing this energy and shifting out of this? For so many men, there is a statistic that I was looking at recently with the high statistics of men who are lonely, having mental health issues, and even becoming suicidal because of that. Um, and looking at that, I see the wounded feminine, because the universe, every time you can take a breath, the universe is loving on you. But when you're numb to that, and when breath no longer feels like a gift of life to you anymore, you're not open to receive love. So you're hyper vigilant. You're constantly scanning your environment for what's going to reinforce how unlovable you are. And everything in your reality starts to reflect that. So these are some of the ways that you know, are you in the sacred feminine energy or scared feminine energy? Now, This was trippy because I thought that I was wide open until I read this and I found some areas where there was some blockages to receive this and believe this. Do you believe this? I'm going to read this to you. Just feel and see what you believe. Do you know how much joy the universe gains from being able to give to you? Do you? Who here knows how much joy the universe gains from being able to give to us? So many of us are so adapted to giving, and we try to earn love and earn success by doing, and we bypass the importance of being. Can you be receptive to the universe? Because the universe gains joy when it's able to nurture us. When you delight in what you receive, when you openly embrace a gift and are so happy with it, the universe is fully received by you. In this space, there's joyful communion between you and life. Energy flows more freely and magic happens. When you demur, saying you cannot accept, that it is too great a gift, or that you are not worthy of this, you are impeding that flow. You are inhibiting the communion, the connection, the playful interaction between you and the universe. It's time to be done with the false modesty and to be done with the guilt. You are a radiant sun in human clothing. An exquisite life experience is your birthright. Enjoy it. Soak it up. All of it. Including the restoration of sacred rest. What is that? Wait, you mean to tell me I not only have to leave my comfort zone and a lot of the things that I use to create safety, but I have to open up? I have to start to release these false self masks that I wear. Guilt is a false self mask that I wear. Guilt was something I used to comfort me. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because if I feel guilty about doing something, then I don't have to accept the responsibility for how my life is going, because I can always, reflect back on, this is a great example. When I finally take time for myself, I like that first 15 to 20 minutes. First of all, I don't know what to do when I get free time to just be with myself. I don't know what to do first. I be freaking the fuck out. Like, I don't even know what to do. What should I meditate? Maybe I should do this. I'm gonna take me a bath. I'm gonna go for a walk. I don't even know what to do because I'm not used to it. And then when I finally do it, let's just say I decide I'm gonna go get a massage. I'm laying there feeling guilty. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling like it's something negative gonna happen because I used money for a massage, and maybe I should have paid this bill, or maybe I should have done this or done that. So guilt is like a way that it's strange, but it's a way that the ego comforts itself. Because otherwise you would have to fully open up and receive that you're not doing anything wrong. Nothing bad is going to happen because you decided to do something different. Actually, it's the opposite. And you can be fully open and intimate with this experience that you're having. When you have trust issues, it don't stop with just people. You stop trusting your own self. You stop trusting the decisions that you make. You stop trusting that the universe is supporting you. And you will look for reasons to validate why you can't trust the universe. So guilt, shame, all of these things were created by trauma, but ultimately it was a maladaptive coping mechanism that we took on, a feeling that we take on to kind of insulate us from fully feeling the experience of what's happening. Sacred rest. Let's talk about this, because a lot of us don't know how to rest. When you don't know how to trust the process, you don't know how to rest. You don't know how to relax. This is something that we actually have to teach ourselves to do. And this is something we actually have to train ourselves to do, because from the day that we step into the school system, we're not taught to rest. Maybe in kindergarten you got a little nap, but after that, as a child, a 6-year-old child and above, you are expected to be able to wake up early in the morning, be at school, sit in one place for 8 hours straight. No nap, no rest. This is why when we would go to the bathroom, or we would actually go to the water fountain 15 times, or go sharpen our pencil 10 times, because we just needed a break. We just needed to rest for a moment from that. So we have been trained to be workers. We have been trained to be drones, right? So rest is actually something that I have to teach myself to do. It is not second nature. Sacred rest. I'm not talking about the other kind. I'm talking about sacred rest, where while you're resting, you're actually manifesting the reality that you desire by resting. That's the shit I'm on. I'm taking soft life to the extreme. I believe that being softer with yourself can manifest the things that working hard cannot. And I stand on that. So let's talk about this sacred rest, because a lot of us need this. And we're not going to heal until we get it. From that place of nourishment, you will be more effortlessly creating, able to live and to love with greater energy and thriving, pulsing passion. The earth rests each night so it can greet the sun again each morning with the spectacular living art of sunrise. Allow yourself to switch off, step away, close the laptop, switch off the phone, and just be with yourself for a little while. You will return and be more efficient and effective. Rest now, play now, work later. Forget your worries for a while. Switch off. Do something else. Let it all go, and it will all flow. Wow. In hearing this, maybe you picking up on how much you don't trust rest, right? So this is what you could say out loud to help tap into this, and you can repeat after me. I want y'all to get used to using your words to shift your mindset, to shift your mood, which ultimately shifts your reality. And shifting your reality moment by moment, learning how to be in the present moment, learning how to tap into sacred rest. This will allow you to co-create with the universe in a really different way. And it's being able to trust, like, the universe really does gain something when we have these moments of communing. It's an energy exchange. Like, what is the health of your energy exchange? Are you receptive? Do you give after your cup is full, or are you operating without sacred rest? Because if you constantly operate without sacred rest, and I know the economy got a lot of us on our toes because of what's happening with the economy, because of inflation. A lot of us maybe are taking on more work than usual, working longer hours than usual. So I get it. Even if it's just 5 minutes and you're like, let me just stop for 5 minutes and just shift into my breath, drop into my breath for 5 minutes. That right there, that one thing alone will detach you. It will disengage you. It will help you to opt out of the trends that we're being fed to constantly be turned on. We are being socially engineered to behave like devices, like robots, automatons, to be constantly on go. And that's not healthy. That's not the way of nature. And a spiritual being, even the more, who is reclaiming these lost parts of your soul. Many of us, our soul has been fragmented into remnants. And so spiritual awakening basically means you're reclaiming these lost parts of your soul, your essence. We need sacred rest. And the most rebellious things that you can do is to rest, even if it's just a few minutes, if that's all you can do. So you can say this out loud. I release all false guilt and shame about having needs, and all false beliefs about rest being wasteful or unnecessary. I accept healthy, productive, sacred rest and the gifts of happiness that it brings. I understand that rest and activity balance, feed, and nourish each other. There is sacred healing that happens through rest, which is very powerful. I accept and receive this now through unconditional love. This is now so. Now I'm going to read a story to you. And I want you to imagine I'm reading this to your inner child. The great French Impressionist painter Monet sat in his garden on a warm afternoon. He was napping lightly on his garden bench, with the sunlight dappling gently through the straw hat resting over his face. It was soft and warm on his closed eyelids. He sighs contentedly. A nosy neighbor poked his head over the fence, keen to know what the brilliant artist was up to now. "Sir, you are resting?" the curious neighbor called out. "No," responded Monet, wriggling to get even more comfortable on his reclining garden chair. "I am working." He relaxed further as the mild breeze tickled the hair on his forearms. Monet returned to his garden the next day, consumed by the urge to translate his feelings onto the canvas. He painted with a great energy and focus. He was inspired, and the paint flowed. Again, the nosy neighbor poked his head over the fence. He called out, "Sir, you are working?" "No," said the artist, barely pausing with his brush. "I am resting." This story is of a man who realized the flow of the laws of nature. The wisdom of the trees, the wisdom of the flowers, they take a rest. The wisdom of the sun goes down and sets. The wisdom of the moon becomes completely invisible to us in her resting phase. Nothing, no matter how powerful it is, even in the cosmos, is always on go, always moving forward. He acknowledged that a spiritual minded being resting is a spiritual experience because there is no separation from anything that we do and spirituality unless in our own minds we have separated the two. So while you are resting, you're in a more hypnotic state. You're shifting from delta into theta mind wave frequencies, which allow you to absorb this love of the universe. I want you to start imagining when you're resting that anything that you feel like needs your control, maybe you feel like you need to keep your eyes on your email, keep your eyes on your bills and the due dates, keep your eyes on your accounts, keep your eyes on your business, keep your eyes on your accountant, keep your eyes on the kids, keep your eyes on the feed, make sure you're not missing anything happening in the news, There is this energy where you constantly feel like you have to be engaged with things outside of you so that you don't wake up to a lot of issues and problems and things that will overwhelm you. Can anybody relate? This is the frequency war that I explained in War on Consciousness. This is a war against higher consciousness. Some of the most powerful beings in this world have long periods of rest. Even bears, some of the most have like this super strength about them, and they rest. They hibernate. What more do we think we need to rest? If you're constantly on go, if you don't acknowledge that when you're resting, you are still accomplishing something, then rest will be something that you feel guilty about. If you struggle with procrastination, it's probably because you haven't had enough sacred rest. You don't shift into receiving mode enough to trust that you are being supported and being guided at all times. And so it feels irresponsible of you to just pause and stop and rest. Because maybe you felt like your procrastination led to 13 things that need to be done and you need to get them all done, and then we overwhelm our mind with trying to figure out how to get it all done, and before we can even move through the task, we're already exhausted from thinking about all of the things that need to be done. Where is there room to receive the things that you deserve to receive, the things that you have been planting, the things that you have been watering and nurturing? The solar flares, it's bringing that energy to help us to manifest this new earth. But if we're not resting, or we feel guilty when we do, maybe we feel like we rest too much. Some of us, I know I do, sometimes I feel like I'm resting too much, but I'm challenging myself to rest more. I'm challenging myself to resist allowing the matrix, to resist allowing the Lord of Time make me feel like I have to always be doing something or I will be an ultimate failure. Because we cannot fail. As long as you are learning, failure is proof that you tried to do something. That's always better than not trying at all. So with this, sometimes just stop and give yourself a hug and imagine that that hug is for your inner child. As children, a lot of us had to be the way we were to survive the dysfunctional reality we signed up for. It's in our Akashic record. It's part of our soul contract. But now, learning to transmute the trauma, learning to turn the pain into purpose, that is ultimately empowerment. Every great thing that we love, all of the content that we love, it usually came from a space of someone who went through something and created something as a result of what they went through. This is a recipe for ascension. So the question that I asked next was, what is this connected to? What is this? Is this just about the present moment and the present reality? Is it beyond this? And I pulled the lapis lazuli crystal, one of my favorite stones, which represents past life. So a lot of us in our past lives, we signed up to be warriors. We signed up to work with religion. A lot of us in the past lives were a part of slavery. A lot of us in past lives had to work. Maybe our husband was sent off to war and we had to work. We have past lives as the Industrial Revolution was starting. A lot of us have past lives where we maybe had a lot of kids, and so it was a lot to manage and maintain. Some of us have past lives of being in the high society, being royals who had kingdoms to manage. And so the point of me saying this is, no matter what spectrum you're on from a past life, the sacred rest ultimately is also you alchemizing from the past lives into this life. You can actually connect to your past lives, and what you're doing in this life is not just healing you. Time is not linear. Time is cyclical, right? So as you look at it like a stream of consciousness where this healing is happening multidimensionally across all dimensions of time and space. And so this sacred rest is actually where you can tap into your past lives and some of the things that we did not complete, some of the things we did not face, some of the things we did not release, some of the things that we did not learn are alchemized during our sacred rest. Next, I wanted to call on one of my personal deities that is affiliated with my name. The numerology of my name connects to Isis, the goddess of rebirth, the goddess of healing, the high priestess. She's a fertility goddess. She's very protective as well. And so I wanted to seek her guidance. And in the course, I'm going to be teaching y'all how to see what deities are associated with your name, because oftentimes these are the deities that will provide the most support for us as guides throughout our life. And so the card that I pulled was the flower of life when I asked her, give me guidance on how to fully connect with this, because sometimes this is a struggle for me, right? So this is what she said. You are entering a fertile period of your life. You are guided to think of yourself as a creative being and to surrender your control over how things will manifest and instead allow them to do so. Don't resist change. Instead, go with the flow and let it happen. Now is the time for your blossoming. Ooh, honey. Look, I used 3 separate decks, and all of the decks communicated the same message and supported each other in many different ways. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. So I want to offer you all the opportunity to continue connecting with these energies. I do have courses and challenges at newverselive.com. Most of them are short because I know a lot of us are short on time. And I also know that a lot of us, again, feel this overwhelmed and we're trying to get so much done because our higher selves, our divine selves is really pulling on us right now. Like, come on, it's time for you to step into this new season. Come on, it's time for you to let these old thoughts go. It's time for you to be willing and open and receive. Like, yes, you planted seeds, but you're not receptive to receive them. You ain't made no room for it. So, check out the courses. Just go to the website and just look around. I have a 10-day meditation course where I will just guide you through meditation. I have an inner child healing course. Phenomenal. And we're going to work through your 3 lower chakras to get those balanced. Oftentimes, once you get those balanced, the upper chakras just open up naturally and begin to flow for you. And I would also invite those of you who like to really swim deep. Shout out to all my sacred rebels out there. It's like, I'm not letting nobody dictate my reality and tell me what my perception should believe. I want the truth. I want to dive deep. I invite you to Patreon. This tribe is just $1 donation, and it supports me to keep doing this work because I don't get paid for this. But you will connect with a lot of information that I can't even tell you what's there here. You just have to go and see for yourself. Of course, you can cancel anytime. I got commitment issues sometimes, so I know y'all probably do too. Even though it's just $1, you can donate whatever you want to donate. But it's almost 310 posts there to date over the course of all of this, and all of it is timeless. I'm a white galactic wizard. That's my galactic signature that comes from my galactic heritage before I came to this planet and incarnated in a physical body. So a lot of the things that come through me are timeless. And people are finding videos from 8 years ago and they like, Ashe, this is resonating. Thank you so much for guidance, for clarity. And I did it 8 years ago. And it's because of this energy. When you start to break free of the 3D matrix, what comes through you is timeless as well. It's not bound by what's happening in the here and now, yet you are allowing yourself to be present for it to move through you. So you can connect with me and my creations. I'm a strange bird. I am. And I actually take pride on being unique and different. And I take pride on being unafraid. The goal is to be unbothered by what usually traps you. So yes, you can connect with me on these levels. I will send out an email when this course is ready to launch. This is Heal Your Mind, Body, and Soul with 30 to 60 minutes a day. Yes, I am focusing on the feminine right now because we need to learn how to get in receptive mode. We keep pushing and fixing and planting and doing and trying. The energy of trying. I don't want to try. I just want to flow. I don't want to force the flow. I would just want to flow with the force that's already being made available for me. So I will send that email out. Again, if you want to book a reading, choose something next week. Even if you see an open spot, choose next week. Okay, give me a moment. I do have my own things going on, but again, 5D consciousness, it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. It's all about the courage. And the mother tongue activations. My light language is the language of the goddesses, the great mother. And in that language, a lot of times people start having dreams, people start making connections and having synchronicities that they were not having before. I have some of those here on YouTube. Just type in Kamsen mother tongue or Kamsen in light language, because sometimes I can be hard to find. And just lay back and get in receptive mode and rest and just listen to that. And yeah, so yes, so that's most of me. Is so much more in my new verse world that I'm sharing. But yes, I have a healing community that I'm building, and each time I'm desiring to take it a step higher. But I love you all. I thank you. I hope you love you more. I hope that you felt this. I hope that you take this energy with you and disrupt the 3D matrix. Like, let's stop assimilating. Let's stop allowing pressure outside of us force us to accommodate and be someone that we are not. If you don't know who you are right now, that's okay. Like, just be that. Just be whatever it is that you are, so that you can allow the force that is naturally flowing for you to work for you. Y'all, we be working too hard. And I know as kids, we had to work really hard to not get in trouble, to not get whooped, to not get punished, to not get blamed. But now we're doing it to ourselves. And we're creating realities and situations outside of us that reflect that. So we don't have to blame anybody. We don't have to be mad at anybody. And again, I'm walking you through all of that in the courses and the challenges, everything that I create. There are certain fundamentals that I implement in all of them. But yes, I'm going to take y'all back. We're going to time travel, and we're going to heal some stuff from childhood and past lives so that we can fully receive what's coming to us. If this reading spoke to you, share this with somebody. What better way to share the love and help change the world without really having to do anything but the click of a button? Do this, and come in and let me know, how did you feel? I didn't get a chance to really go through the live chat. Again, I have kiddos that I need to put to bed and things that I need to do. But love on yourself. You're worth it. Open up. Breathe. Your chakras are open behind you. So just practice breath coming through your back and through the front of you, so that you can really receive this and come back and listen to this again later. Maybe even right before you fall asleep, listen to this. Maybe even in the morning before you go to work or school or whatever you have to do, and see how it shifts your perspective of your day. All right. Namaste. Namaste. One love. Ashe.